Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. It is I, the Serene Azurine, and today we're going to be talking about my trans trip to New York City, or more specifically, my trip to see the Doctors 3 in the NYC. So this is just supposed to be kind of a vague reference guide. This is not at all to be considered medical advice or professional advice. I'm just a giant bluebird on the internet. If you have any questions about surgery or mental health evaluations and such, please talk to medical professionals. As you may be aware, I am trans feminine, and I was looking to get trans feminine bottom surgery. It's something I thought long and hard about, something I decided that was the right move for me, and the first step is finding a doctor. I was told early on, or found advice early on, that suggested that you shouldn't lock yourself into picking a doctor that's geographically the easiest to get to. Now, I kept this at the back of my head. My very first mental health therapist said, hey, you should see Dr. Justine in New York City. They did Jazz's surgery from, what's that show? Was it I Am Jazz? I was like, okay, so I looked into them, but ended up finding someone that works out of the same office, Bella Avanesian, and she just seemed to be a better fit for me, so that's who I made the appointment with. It was about a 6-month wait time. Expect something similar if you're going to go with a big city doctor. The second step that I had to go through was finding a place to stay. This one was fairly easy for me because I have a friend that lives in New York City. Otherwise, I would have had to have looked into a hotel or a motel. I don't even think I could afford a hotel. The next step, the third step that I took, was finding a way to get there. I had the option of planes, trains, or automobile, and buses. But I opted for taking a train because it was a cheap option, one of the cheapest. The next step to consider is how are you going to get around once you're there. Thankfully, my friend that's in New York City, JadedFlames, she said, just take the train. You're going to be arriving at the train station anyway. It's only $2.90 for a one-way trip, basically anywhere. Well, the places I needed to go, that's all I ever had to spend. Less than $6 for each round trip. And then the last step, which is far less crucial, is just figuring out some food. So you don't have to keep eating all your friends' food and mooching off of them, even though they're nice enough to offer it to you. So you've called your doctors, had the appointment scheduled, made your travel arrangements. How does it actually play out? So I decided to take Amtrak, which was in a pretty decent area, thankfully. The train station was really small. It was just the size of the waiting room. That was pretty much the entire building. I got there a little bit before the scheduled departure time, and thankfully it was enough. I was only in the waiting area for about 5 minutes before we all got put on the train, and it was a little over 8 hours. I had brought some sandwiches with me for the trip, and I forgot to bring my phone charger. I usually have a spare cord in my bag, but this time I forgot, and I also forgot the backup battery. So I had to make do with my laptop, and thankfully, I had some things on there that I could watch. So when I arrived at Penn Station, oh my goodness, Penn Station was beautiful. I thought, maybe it's just me because I'm not from the city, but once you get off of the platform and you're in the train station itself, it looks just like an airport. It's the same kind of shops, it's the same kind of layout. My friend JadedFlames comes around the corner and says, hey, it's good to see you in person. She came to meet me there because I told her about the last time I took a train alone. I got really confused and was there so long that the train stopped running and they started shutting down parts of the station, and I had to hop a turnstile and learn how to use Lyft and Uber to make it to my destination. When I told her all that, she's like, I'll just meet you there. We get on the train to get to her place, and it's already past her bedtime, so she was super nice to do this and help eat. She was so kind to offer me her leftover potato salad, which was amazing. We made it into a sandwich, and I got to drink some of her soda stream water, and it was just wonderful. And I got to meet her beautiful cats and her fiance. It was just so welcoming. And so in the morning, she gave me some coffee and a bagel and said, hey, here's a refresher for the instructions on how to get back to the train station. It's gonna be super easy. And she was right. It was super easy. It was basically walk to the train station, get on the train, which thankfully for me was only one line. I only had to get on like the 2 or the 3 in New York City, and that took me all the way to Penn Station. On my way to my first appointment, after leaving Penn Station, I got a call from the doctor. She says, I'm not in the office, but we can do a video chat. You have to be there for another appointment anyway, and when you do the video chat, you've got to be in an office. I was like, that's fine. I have no problem with it. I still get the appointment. So I go in, I wait. They ask all the basic questions that you're going to be asked many times and probably already have if you're in transition. As far as the medical aspect goes, they ask if you use drugs, what kinds, anything illegal, and just answer them truthfully, because they're not there to judge you or arrest you or anything like that. Just be truthful. This is your health. Don't mess around with it. They ask you a few questions like, why do you want to get, in my case, trans-feminine bottom surgery, and do you know what this entails? And it seemed to go rather well. It was back to the waiting room for my next appointment. They took 5 vials of blood from me. The woman got the vein on the first try. It was wonderful. And she asked a lot of the same questions about drug use, and then she asked about my sexuality. And I said, I'm pan. And she's like, ban? I'm like, no, pan, like frying pan? And it's like, I don't have a blank for that. So you could just put bi if you want. I don't really, yeah, it doesn't really bother. Then she was like, no, I found the blank. I got you. Some people would probably be mad about that, but she was one of the nicest people I had met. So then after that appointment, it was back to my friend JadedFlames' place to play a lot of Mario Wonder. Later that night, there was dinner and a board game, and dinner was this spaghetti with the vegan sauce and the vegan meat in it. Let me tell you, it was amazing. Full disclosure, I tried to sneak into the kitchen just like the potato salad, and I actually did manage to steal a few bites. Oh my god, the food was so good. And the next day was very similar. Get on the train, go to see the doctor. Finally got to meet Bella Avanesian. On the way into the office, I find out she has, I don't know if we still can't say that on YouTube or not, but she called off around 4 in the morning. My appointment was at 8. I had to talk to one of her subordinates, and they were very wonderful. But on the way to the office, I did see Jess Ting, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's the TV guy. And I stared at him, and he stared back. And at the appointment, it was pretty much the same as all the others. They asked the orientation questions, the drug use questions, and then they got to talk about the surgery. They talk about exactly how they do the procedure and the possible side effects, the likelihood that I'll feel those side effects, the specifics about where you are going to be staying, because it's a 12-week recovery time and they require you to be near the hospital for 4 weeks. I would have to stay with my friend JadedFlames for about 4 weeks. I hope she's still okay with that when the time comes. But as of this recording, I still haven't gotten any messages from the app. I haven't gotten a call back from the office. Hi, it's me, Future Azurine, from the future. And had I bothered to check the hospital's app, I would have seen I received a message 3 days prior to recording the video that said I had been approved for surgery and they were simply waiting to schedule an appointment date. I've been Future Azurine from the future, and we still don't have flying cars. And after that, it was back to my friend's place to pack up my things and leave. And so the night before, I had taken their holiday photograph of, it was JadedFlames, her fiance, and their 2 cats, and I had a good time. I was glad I was able to contribute. And she surprised me with a copy of the photo and says, I wasn't sure if you'd want this. And I told her, honestly, I'm almost a little offended that you would think I wouldn't want this. It is seriously going to be a cherished item. After that sweet experience, it was pretty uneventful. Just get back on the train, go home, over 8 hours home. The only problem going home was just this kid that kept listening for hours to this video on YouTube of an auto-tuned baby on a cell phone with this volume turned up way too high. He wasn't even watching the video. He just wanted to hear a baby cry for hours. And there were a couple delays on the train on the way home, but ultimately the train only ended up being 10 minutes late from its original arrival time, and Chicago ended up being about 15 minutes late, so I only had to wait 5. That's one thing that I hope you all have or are able to get, is a strong support network. I would be doing this regardless of whether or not I had a strong support network, and Sekanko the Fanda has been easily my biggest supporter. So that's going to be it. Again, I am not a medical professional, so if you have any mental health or medical needs, please consult professionals. This is just to give you a vague idea of what you could possibly expect if you're looking to do the same as I am and get trans-feminine bottom surgery. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Wow, that past Azurine is always forgetting to say that if you like the video, please like and subscribe. It helps out tremendously. And if you click on that bell, you'll receive notifications of when a new video goes up. I've been Future Azurine, and I'll see you in the future.